Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to combine two of my most favorite desserts, creme brulee and cheesecake, into one spectacular dessert, a creme brulee cheesecake. This recipe is super simple to put together. There are just a few tips and tricks, and you will need a kitchen torch. But other than that, it's pretty simple to put together, and the results are well worth the effort. Let me show you how to make a real showstopper of a dessert. So the first thing we want to do is prep our cheesecake pan. So I'm using a 9-inch springform pan, and we just want to lightly grease it, and then we are also going to wrap it in some aluminum foil. And we want to do this because we are going to create a water bath for this cheesecake. Now, if you're familiar with my other cheesecake recipe, the raspberry cheesecake, that one I add a little flour to so that you don't need to have the water bath. But in this instance, we really want this cheesecake to replicate the texture of a creme brulee. So we are going to use a water bath so that we get that nice custardy finish. Then we are going to make our crust. So the crust is just 9 graham crackers. And the nice thing is that when you buy the graham crackers, those packets that they individually wrap, that's 9, so you only have to open 1 packet. And you're gonna put it in a resealable bag and just give them a whack with the rolling pin. And then you're just gonna roll the crumbs until they're all crushed up and you get a nice fine texture. And then you can place that in a medium-sized bowl with a tablespoon of sugar and a little pinch of salt. And then we're gonna add anywhere from 5 to 6 tablespoons of butter. So start with 5, and then see if it comes together. If it still feels a little dry, you could add that extra tablespoon. And then we're gonna pour the crumbs into our pan and just press it down with our hand, smooth it all out. And then to really assure that it's nice and flat, I like to take a measuring cup and just go in and sort of pat that crust down. And you'll see you'll get a nice flat surface that way. And then you're gonna bake this at 325 for about 10 minutes. And you'll know that it's done when you start to smell the graham crackers. So if you forget to set the timer, as soon as you smell those graham crackers, it's time to take that crust out, about 10 minutes or so. So for our cheesecake, we are going to use 3 types of cheese. And the reason we're gonna do this is because it's gonna provide a really great cheesecake texture that also resembles a bit of a creme brulee texture. So we're going to add 15 ounces of ricotta cheese, 8 ounces of whipped cream cheese, and if you can't find the whipped, yes, the brick will work just as well, and 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese. And we're gonna blend this up in the food processor. And I do that because you're gonna get a really nice smooth finish, which will just add to a velvety, decadent cheesecake. And then you're gonna add 3/4 cup of sugar, and you can pulse that up. And then we're gonna add 3 eggs, 1 at a time, pulsing up in between each addition. And then to that, we're gonna add 2 vanilla beans that have been split down the middle and scraped of its seeds. And what's nice about using the vanilla beans is then you get those little speckles of vanilla that closely resemble a creme brulee. So that's why I like to splurge and go for the vanilla beans. And that's really all you have to do. The filling is ready to go. So then we're gonna go back to our cheesecake pan, and we're going to pour the filling into the pan. And here's a little trick. Anytime you're pouring something from a food processor, just put your little finger at the top of the blade, and that way when you're pouring, the blade doesn't fall in with it. Okay, at this stage, here's what you're gonna do to manage the water bath. You're gonna take out a big roasting pan, like the kind you cook a turkey in, I think works really well, and you're going to put that in your oven, so it's all ready to go. Then you're gonna take your cheesecake and put that in the roasting pan. And then if you have a kettle, this works quite nicely. You just wanna add some hot water to the pan. So you just wanna make sure that that hot water comes up to about halfway of your cheesecake. And then we are going to bake for about 40 to 45 minutes, just until that cheesecake jiggles slightly, but is definitely set. Once the cheesecake is done, just turn your oven off and open the oven door and allow it to kind of cool down for 15 minutes. And at this stage, you wanna remove the foil because it may have caught some water and you don't want it sitting in the water. So you might wanna do this over the sink. And then after that, you can let your cheesecake just cool down for about 30 minutes and then pop it in the fridge. Okay, so when it comes time to serve, here's the big moment. This is what you're gonna do. You wanna take a knife and just lightly run it around the perimeter of the cheesecake, just to loosen it a bit. Because if you go release the spring and it's still sticking to the sides, it'll crack and you'll be so upset. So do make sure that you take that knife and run it around the side first. Then you wanna take about 3 tablespoons of plain white sugar and sprinkle it all over the top of the cake in just kind of a thin layer. And then taking your kitchen torch, you want to torch the sugar. And what will happen is it'll beat up first and you'll start to see these little like sugar balls. But if you keep at it, those sugar balls will turn into like sugar pools and it'll start to all kind of connect. It does take a little time, but it is well worth the effort. So just be patient and go ahead and run your torch all over that cake. And if you wanted to make it a little decorative, you could add maybe 3 raspberries on top, maybe dusted with a little powdered sugar. That would also be pretty. This is such a showstopper of a dessert. You've got that creamy cheesecake underneath, mixed with that crunch of the caramelized sugar, and of course the little crispy crumbs underneath of the crust. This is one of those desserts you just cannot stop eating. You're gonna either love me or hate me for this one. All right, you guys, I'll see you back here next week. Be sure to subscribe for more quick and easy recipes, and I will see you back here then. Bye.